Let's take a look at how we can deepen our analysis. We know that this is the meat of our writing, right? It's really what we care about the most. So let's think about a different tool we can use to enhance this. We'll go over several, but this is our first one. We're going to use level 3 thinking to do this. So we remember our levels of thinking and questioning here. When we're thinking about the levels of thinking, we're going to think about level 1, right? That's going to be things that come straight from the text. I can show you where it came from. Level 2 is what can I infer? So that's going to be from the text and from your head. I still need characters from the text and plot, but I can also make an inference or guess. And then finally, level 3, what are the universal implications? So that's going to be just from your head. We're not talking about the text so much, but really the topic or idea. So let's take a look at our mentor text and kind of get an idea of where this comes from or how this would sound. This is a transition and then Ika. This part should be yellow, but it's presenting green. I'm not sure why. But we're going to look at our Ika here and think about how can I change my analysis to use level 3 thinking. First, the thing that impacts Esperanza's identity is her neighborhood, a low-income neighborhood that she is not thrilled to live in. When describing a time when a teacher from her school saw where she lived, Esperanza shares that the teacher said, "You live there?" The way she said it made me feel like nothing. This moment is significant because it shows how detached Esperanza is from her home. She feels embarrassed and shameful about where she lives, which ultimately impacts her identity. It is hard to be her true self when she feels so detached from her home. So this is really good analysis right here, right? We have our trigger rigor word. It goes straight back up to our green, which also supports our topic sentence, and it clearly shows why this specific quote was selected for this specific moment, okay? So when we think about turning this into level 3, I'm going to ask myself, how does this apply to the world? So here it's talking about Esperanza specifically, and when she feels detached from her place, it impacts her story. We know that because we've read the book. So what I'm going to do now is ask myself, well, how does this topic apply to the world? The topic is identity, right, or not belonging, impacting identity. So I'm going to brainstorm down here. When I brainstorm, I'm not going to mention the text anymore. Remember, level 3 is past our characters. Instead, it's about the topic. So the topic here, like I said, would be how our place impacts our identity or how our surroundings do. So I'm going to think about, okay, well, when we don't belong, it impacts parts of our lives. That's true, right? Everyone needs a place to feel comfortable. That's also something that we see here. And our identity is impacted by our surroundings. Notice none of these are about Esperanza anymore. They're that bigger level, right? We're bumping out, thinking about how can these 3 things show ultimately what Esperanza is going through. So when I have a list, you may have 5, 6 things. I don't know how many you'll have. I'm going to narrow it down to one that I feel like I can really write about. For me, that's going to be our identity is impacted by our surroundings. So to switch this up, the dark blue is the sentence that I'm going to end up changing here. I'm going to now make this not just about Esperanza, but that level 3. So all people, right? Kind of a universal implication here, okay? So the first 2 sentences are the same because those are about Esperanza. I need my trigger rigor word, and I'm building up now to that level 3. So this is level 2, and then it goes to level 3. This moment is significant because it shows how detached Esperanza is from her home. She feels embarrassed and shameful about where she lives, which ultimately impacts her identity. Examining this example illustrates how greatly our surroundings impact our identity, the core of our being. So you can see here, this is moving into level 3, right? This is level 3. It no longer is about Esperanza. Instead, it's making a statement saying, this is going to be impacted by this. It's that universal thinking. How does it apply to our world? Okay? So you are going to try this with 2 more examples from the mentor text. This is difficult. It's going to take some practice. Please try those examples before you get into your own writing. Check your work, and then we will move forward. All right, guys, happy writing.